If you are replacing your high pressure fuel pump and you have a full bodied replacement, super easy job. This thing literally comes off and you stick the whole new body back in. But if you are doing something like the Autotech internal upgrades like I did, that's something that I was a little concerned about. And I think there's a lot of people who maybe feel like they don't have the capabilities to do this. I think it's something that anybody can do with the right tools. I learned a lot during this process. I made a lot of mistakes and I didn't follow all the suggestions that people gave me online when I should have. And so I'm hoping to reiterate some of those suggestions to help you through this process and provide some helpful tips, tricks, and tools that will help you remove the retainer and help you through this process. I believe in you. If I can do it, you can do it. Be overconfident. You can definitely do it. Quick warning, before you do any of this work, maybe even before you watch this video, grab some safety glasses because there could be spraying fuel, there could be springing things. Protect your eyes. Be careful. All right, to start, we want to relieve the fuel pressure in the line. So first thing we're gonna do is pull this top fuse right here. This is the 15 amp for the fuel pump. We're going to pull that, start the car, and let it die to relieve some of the pressure and use some of the fuel up in there. And then what I'm gonna do, since I've already got this fuel installed here, instead of taking off this clamp here, which I know is already secure, I'm going to end up making the disconnect right here since I can pull this out and there's a kind of a quick disconnect on there. I'm gonna leave the hose on while I do all the work on the fuel pump. I'm sure that in the last day or so, my car has been very curious why I keep turning it on and letting it die. So all these warning lights came up for me last time again. I think when you pull that fuse, everything starts to go a little wacky. What solved all these was just by, once I got everything buttoned back together, ran the car, drove it around the block, turned it off, turned it back on, everything sorted itself out. All right, so the fuel finally cut out. The first time I did that, it only took like 1 minute and 10 seconds. This time it went for like maybe three and a half minutes. So, if it doesn't do it right away, don't be worried, it'll die. And then also make sure you go back in the cabin and actually turn it off. I'm gonna get this little clip out of the way so I can move this around freely. See if I'll stay back in there. There it goes. I was not smart enough to keep the little red cap that came with this, so I'm just gonna be very careful around this area. I'm just gonna fold this towel over that so nothing gets in that line. To get some easier access to this nut down here on the bottom of the fuel pump, I'm going to take the airbox out. There we go. I believe this is a 17 millimeter and a little bit of fuel coming out, just a tiny bit. I don't have a 17 millimeter wrench handy. This is 11/16, so it did the trick just to loosen that up. So we get a small screwdriver in here. Lift up this tab. It's supposed to come right off. You can also use your thumb to depress the bit on the back there. We've got that disconnected. Now I've got the 10 millimeter triple square. Now let's see about getting this off here. There we go. Man, that was a little tougher than I expected. Getting that line out from under there, it's a little challenging. So this should, now that we're rotated, pull straight out. Got it right there. And I've got fuel spilling all over the place. So here's what it looks like inside where the high pressure fuel pump is. Here's that fitting on the bottom. This I had to kind of pull to the side while I was rotating and really kind of just try and get it out of there. It was super hard. Let's throw a towel over this and keep it clean. We've got this little tiny piece here. We've got a little packet of hardware. This is maybe like 3 inches long, super tiny. That's the part that's gonna give us the fast. So I just want to check out and see what was in there, see exactly what pieces I might not mind destroying. So we'll see how this goes here. All right, so I've got my bench vise here under this towel. I've got this in here pretty tight. There's a nice two easy kind of flat surfaces here that you can kind of tighten against. Having the towel in there I think is probably helpful just to help protect the body. Now I've got the Autotech internals here. I still have my hose connected. I don't think a lot of people are going to end up being in this scenario here. Now, I got the bearing splitter and puller from Harbor Freight. I was hoping it would be a little bit smaller. It is a lot bigger than I expected. The one that Everything CPO got looked like it was a much better fit and size for this size thing. This was about 50 bucks. I think the one that he links to is about 25 or $30. I would definitely try going with that. I kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit about whether I actually needed it. And then talking with some experienced people with doing this type of work is that you want to be as clean and careful as you possibly can. All right, so I don't want to put you through the entire process that I took and struggle that I had with that tool that I got from Harbor Freight. Definitely buy the one that Everything CPO recommended. It's like half the cost and half the size, and the correct size. It'll make your life so much easier. Just if you follow one tip, like get that tool. And I'll show you just a little bit of the process that I did while trying to struggle with this, just to get an idea of where this tool mounts and how you can use it to pull that retainer off. Let's get this thing mounted. My biggest concern is trying to get the puller in the right spot. Although I know I've heard some people going in between the coils. And make sure you're being careful with this because we're going to be reusing the spring. I'm gonna get these posts in here. The pin that is on the end of this is much larger than the pin that is in the middle of this thing here. So I've just put on the posts and this cross piece up here. I'm putting in the part that will basically push the pin down through. Now you can see how, maybe you can't see yet, but how big this is compared to the smallest circle in the middle. That is what we actually want to press. And so if I go down all the way with this, I'm going to end up breaking something, which I want to try to avoid. All right, so after some failed attempts of using that enormous Harbor Freight tool, I just resorted to doing whatever I could to get that retainer off of that shaft. I saw a bunch of videos online of other people prying it off in various ways, so I thought I would try that, and that still took me a long time to get going. Now, there's a seal that is on that shaft that holds back the pressure of the fuel as it's being pumped into the engine. If you mess up that seal, you're gonna have problems with fuel flooding into your engine. So this is one of the things that, you know, I want to stress just so badly, that getting the right tool to do this job is going to be very important. So again, I have high confidence that literally anybody could do this job with the right tools and being careful. So just fair warning. We're gonna try a method that I saw another shop do. That is not what I wanted to do. You know, for this being a specialty tool, I'm really disappointed at how loose this fit is, but maybe it's like that for a reason. All right, so I've got the fuel pump in there a little bit sideways to try and use the vise to really help hold it. There we go. That seemed to work best because I was able to catch underneath the vise on here and this lip over here. So this is a point in the process where you should at least consider lubricating the parts from Autotech. This is something that I did off camera that I didn't really talk about. I think I was kind of frustrated with the whole process at this point. But you should also consider completely disassembling and cleaning out the entire high pressure fuel pump assembly. This is something that Everything CPO recommends, and I think is a really great idea. So at this top area, there's a little seal that Autotech mentions is very fragile. So I bet you that as people are reaming on this bit to get it off on the top, I bet you that's one of the things that they're damaging and potentially causing issues with this pump. Tightening this should be a lot easier because there's these ears that I'm going to be able to press against when I have the torque being applied. There doesn't seem to be any torque spec on Autotech's paperwork, so I'm just going to torque this thing down to pretty tight. So now we have the spring. It's going to go back in place there. We have our new hardware. So what I'm going to do is actually set both of these pieces in here. So again, this is another part of the process that I just got really frustrated with, and I didn't do a great job of recording. You know, I eventually got those halves in there, but the best advice that I saw was using the bearing splitter to press down on that and letting them fall into place. If you have oil on those pieces, they kind of want to stick to the shaft, and so you might have to have somebody help you press those into place. I didn't have a second hand, so I stuck a screwdriver in my mouth and used it as kind of a third hand or a finger to kind of press them down into place. But now everything's assembled and we can stick it in. I had one heck of a time fighting this thing. Now we're gonna just get it back in here. I think you can see all that. It's together. We're going to rotate it slightly to the left to be able to get this all back in here. I want to be really careful sliding that back in. All right, so kind of grabbing my fingers around here and pulling this one to the side. Just try and get it right back, right there in that brass piece. Perfect. I'm just gonna do a little bit at a time, going from top to bottom. Make sure that I'm tightening it in there evenly. All right, the torque spec on these triple square 10 millimeters is 20 Newton meters, which is not very tight at all. All right, so now that's all left to do is put everything back together and start it up. All right, tools are out of here and start it up. All right, so one last thing before we go and start driving around. Even though I just started the car, I just recalled that I need to flash to a new tune because Integrated Engineering has a Stage 1 91 tune that is available with a high pressure fuel pump, 91 octane. They also have 93 and E30. So until I get this E30 tune, I'm gonna change from the normal Stage 1 high torque to the high torque with high pressure fuel pump and 91 octane. So let's get that going here. This should just take a second, maybe a minute. Let's flash it. I meet the requirements. Let's get it. All right, so it's gonna go through all this detail and we'll check back when it's done. All right, so doing that flash just took a second because I was already on one of their tunes. When you go from stock to Stage 1 or whatever you're jumping to from stock, or maybe even from another tuner, it will take maybe about 30-40 minutes to do that. In this case, going in between tunes from Integrated Engineering only takes a few minutes. So pretty quick. I'm gonna get all this disconnected, buttoned up, and go for a little drive just to clear some stuff out. All right, I did my drive around, everything cleared out and went just fine. One thing that I wanna point out is that switching from a standard Stage 1 tune to this high pressure fuel pump 91 Stage 1 tune, you're not gonna get any performance benefits. All that is happening is that you're letting the system know that, hey, there's this high pressure fuel pump in there with a higher capability, and to maybe run a little bit different, but there's not going to be any butt dyno gains. You're not going to really feel anything different. You're just letting the car know that you've done this thing, but now you have the capability to run the E30 tune, which is pretty awesome. And I've already run it, so that'll be the next video, is me at the track running that tune. The next thing that I am excited to try is that Integrated Engineering is coming out with their TrueFlex tune. I think it already is out for some model years of the GTI, but it's coming for the Mark 7 Golf R very soon. And so that's something I'm really excited to try, where you can literally, you get their components to run the TrueFlex. You basically put in whatever fuel you want, whatever ethanol content you want, try different variations, and the ECU will sense the fuel mixture and will adjust on the fly, and there will be absolutely no map switching. So I'm super, super excited to try that out, and I think it's going to be really awesome. And yeah, thank you for watching this video.